Alrighty, so thank you so much for joining us today for the National Environmental Public Health Internship Program informational session for environmental public health programs. On behalf of the National Environmental Health Association, I want to say thank you, and we are excited that you would like to learn more about the program and the possibility of becoming a NEPHIP host site for future interns. So really quickly, just wanted to do some introductions. My name is Adrienne Gothard. I am a senior project coordinator at NEHA, and I am the internship coordinator for NEPHIP. So I will be your main point of contact for anything related to the NEPHIP internship. Today with us, we also have Reem Tark, who is also a senior project coordinator, and she helps with several of the professional development aspects of the program. And Reem actually has the unique experience of being a past NEPHIP intern herself. She participated in the program back in 2017 before she was hired on with NEHA. So we're very excited to have her help with the program. And then we have Chris Walker, who is a senior program analyst and helps to oversee all of the activities that we do for NEPHIP. So we're very happy to be here today to share some of the specifics about the NEPHIP program, the application, the timelines. But please know that you can email nephip@neha.org at any time with questions. So before we jump into information about the NEPHIP program, I wanted to provide a brief introduction to the National Environmental Health Association, or NEHA, if you are not familiar. So NEHA is a professional society with more than 7,000 members across the nation. And our mission is to build, sustain, and empower an effective environmental health workforce. So we know that if we achieve our mission of building, sustaining, and empowering an effective environmental health workforce, what we will have is one, healthy environments, meaning that we're addressing the health impacts caused from environmental health hazards. We'll have protected communities, meaning that we're identifying the stakeholders that are familiar with the challenges of communities and working to solve these challenges. And we'll have empowered professionals, meaning that we have a diverse group of educated and experienced professionals in the workforce. So this vision reflects our ultimate goal of a valued and empowered environmental health workforce working their magic within their communities to ensure healthy and safe environments for all. So now for some of the specifics of NEPHIP, we have three important partners for the NEPHIP project. The first is our funding entity and primary partner, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Water, Food, and Environmental Health Services branch. Our other partners include the National Environmental Health Science and Protection Accreditation Council, or EHAC. So NEPHIP is offered exclusively to students who are enrolled in environmental health programs that are accredited through EHAC. We also partner with the Association of Environmental Health Academic Programs, or AHAP, and AHAP works to increase the environmental health workforce by promoting and supporting environmental health science degree programs accredited by EHAC. And then, of course, NEHA has been facilitating this program since 2015, and so far we have supported 235 internship experiences across 131 environmental public health agencies in 39 states and territories. So NEPHIP is a 400-hour paid internship that places environmental health students with host sites at state, tribal, local, and territorial environmental public health agencies. During this time, students are exposed to career opportunities, benefits, and challenges of working within EPH agencies throughout the nation. As a part of the program, we recruit qualified students who are eager to gain field experience, as well as recruiting environmental health programs that are interested in hosting environmental health interns. We then match them based on a variety of factors, including the student's experience and interest and the program's project portfolio. Additionally, we're prioritizing diversity and geographic representation in the selection process for students and environmental health programs. So what can you expect from NEPHIP? So NEPHIP interns are undergraduate and graduate students from environmental health programs accredited by EHAC, as I mentioned before. An EHAC accreditation requires a firm educational foundation in the natural sciences of biology, chemistry, physics, and geology. And each intern does receive a base stipend for their participation in the program. Undergraduates receive $6,000 and graduates receive $8,000 to complete this 400-hour internship. And stipends for interns will be provided by NEHA through generous funding from the CDC. And NEHA facilitates these payments, so no funds will have to pass through your department for paying the interns. And the core aim of NEPHIP is really to strengthen the environmental health workforce by bolstering the incoming professionals with real-world experience. And NEPHIP encourages EH students to consider careers at state, tribal, local, or territorial environmental health departments after graduation. With 1 in 4 environmental health professionals in health departments planning to retire in the next 5 years, we know that creating a path for the next generation is critical. In a survey of former NEPHIP interns, 4 out of 5 said they were more likely to pursue a career in environmental health after participating in NEPHIP. So this practical hands-on internship results in graduates that are well prepared to immediately enter the workforce or continue on in their academic journeys. And your participation helps to build qualified applicant pipelines into governmental environmental health programs. So for support and coordination, with some expanded funding in the past couple of years, we are now able to offer a support package valued at up to $1,500 per student to host sites to help compensate for intern-related costs. So examples could include a laptop or desktop computer, an iPad for inspections, training and educational resources for the intern. It could be used for software charges like Microsoft licenses or database access or GIS licenses. Over the summer, we had several host sites purchase some sampling equipment or protective gear for students who were going out in the field. This fall, we've had some folks purchase GoPros to be able to support their virtual interns and take them out on virtual inspections. So these funds, would be available to you as a NEPHIP host site. And of course, any of the purchases that you make would be retained by the host site after the internship is over. And also you can expect enhanced administrative support from NEHA staff during the internship. So the team and I are here to support with any needs that you may have. And then of course, flexibility. So now NEPHIP now supports 50 internships throughout the year, and we're able to offer summer, spring, and fall sessions for flexibility for students and environmental health programs. Within recent years and in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, NEPHIP introduced a virtual format. However, we are now back to be able to go back to offering fully in-person and hybrid internship formats as well. All right. So to be considered as a host, the environmental health program should be able to meet the following criteria. The first one is to have the ability to assist the student in identifying and completing an independent project that focuses on solving a current environmental health problem or challenge facing the jurisdiction. So we'll talk more in depth about that in a second. The second is to be able to provide opportunities for student interns to be exposed to various programs, activities, and services that are operated by your department or program. So, for example, would they be able to shadow with inspectors or have meetings within other departments? And the goal here is really to provide a well-rounded experience that results in the student's understanding of the important work that environmental public health programs do. And the third is to assign a primary mentor to the intern who should be available to assist in mentoring and assisting the student intern on their independent project on a routine basis throughout the internship period. So we realize that there will likely be many individuals involved in the mentoring of the intern, but we ask that there is kind of that one primary mentor who will be the individual that we coordinate with throughout the internship. All right. So for the independent project, project topics can really vary across all environmental health services and topic areas. So when thinking about independent project ideas, we encourage programs to consider any environmental health problems or challenges that are facing your jurisdiction and how an intern could help to address these challenges. So this project can help departments to reinvigorate projects or programs that may have been impacted by competing priorities, and it can also be used by the intern to meet university internship requirements. With the project, we do ask that hosts and interns consider the impact of a couple things. So, the impact of climate change on the environmental health topics and identifying environmental justice and health equity concerns as they relate to the project. So, the goal here is to really get the interns to evaluate public health challenges through these lenses, which is something that they can then hopefully take with them into their careers in environmental public health. And then, along with the independent project, we also require the intern to produce a deliverable associated with the project. So, really, this is the natural output of the project. So, what are you going to be asking them to create to leave with you at the end of the internship? Is it a report of their findings? Is it a presentation with their recommendation? Is it training materials that they've created? Things like that. So, we'll also ask the interns to submit a copy of the deliverable or deliverables to NEPHIP at the end of their internship. And as I mentioned, projects can vary in terms of topics. So I wanted to provide some examples. So in the past, we've had a lot of interns complete food safety projects, such as a risk factor study for the FDA retail food program standards. We've had interns perform research projects comparing enteric disease cases with socioeconomic factors in different communities within the jurisdiction. And the deliverable for that project was the creation of GIS maps and then a presentation to staff about their findings and recommendations. A good example of an emergency preparedness project was where they had the intern create an evaluation for emergency medical needs shelters. So he designed a strategic evaluation system for shelter sites where he took into account both health equity and shelter operational factors. And the project deliverables for that one were the evaluation tool itself, as well as a report outlining instructions for use. Next, for vector control, we've had a project where the intern tracked tick and mosquito populations and compared them to previous years and created a report for that. And another intern completed an assessment for the county to determine how native mosquito vectors are evolving and moving due to climate change. We've also seen a lot of really great water quality projects. One such project was to create a policy brief to advise how the program could increase communication and water advisory awareness to a neighborhood in close proximity to a major lake. Another water project investigated and compared PFAS species detected in lake surface water and foam samples. And this project resulted in a report and figures to communicate the findings with residents in the area. For community environmental health education, we've seen a lot of projects that assisted programs in updating the agency's environmental health web pages with updated information, accessible language, and even translating some of their materials into other languages. Another project had an intern create workbooks or coloring books to start teaching elementary age children about environmental health topics like septic systems and water safety. We've also seen a lot of really great newsletters or flyers created for things like food safety and swim beach advisories in the summer months. So hopefully with these examples, it helps to spark some ideas of how an intern could help within your jurisdictions. So now I just wanted to quickly highlight a recent success story. So one of our summer 2023 in-person interns was matched with the Cerro Gordo Department of Public Health in Mason City, Iowa. And her independent research project was with the emergency preparedness team. And she was tasked to identify vulnerable populations within the county in order to address needs during and after a natural or man-made disaster. And this included evaluating their access to vital public health services during these times. So for her deliverables, she did research and collected data. She identified gaps in services, and she created GIS maps, which will all go into creating an emergency preparedness plan for the county. So here you'll see picture from her presentation of her findings to the program staff, as well as one of the maps that she created using the Social Vulnerability Index. And in addition to her independent project, the county's environmental health team was able to provide her with an abundance of experiences in environmental health. So here you'll see some photos from pool inspections, home inspections for a rehabilitation grant, septic permitting, and they even did a full-scale emergency preparedness exercise that took place at the airport. She was also able to participate in residential radon testing, food establishment inspections, nuisance complaints, and even some private well testing. So she had a very well-rounded internship experience. I also just wanted to quickly share some feedback that we've received from recent host site mentors on the impact of this internship program. So one said that their NEPHIP intern was selected among several candidates when they held an opening for an EHS1 position. And because of the internship, she had gained experience and learned about their agency's program. So things like city values, work ethic, equity, technology, and the development of their future Healthy Home program, thus making her one of the top candidates for the position. Another host site shared that this program was an opportunity for their intern to ask questions, such as, what other things do you do? And what are the possibilities in this field? The mentor shared, I feel like they didn't get a full scope in their college courses of what you can do with this degree. So the mentor was able to discuss the professional options that are available and how the intern could apply their degree to different sectors. And the mentor commented that the intern was very appreciative of somebody just taking the time out of the project and out of school to say, hey, this is what you can do in environmental health. And also this past summer, we had a mentor comment that this opportunity was awesome. Without the intern's presence this summer, our division would not have done the West Nile virus surveillance. So this internship was significant and had a huge impact to our program in the community of 580,000 residents. All right, so just want to share a little bit about the application for NEPHIP. So you can access the host site application and all supplemental materials on the NEPHIP website. And so I'll ask one of my colleagues to drop that in the chat for you all. And on the application, you'll be asked several questions about your program. So basic stuff like contact info, geographic information, etc. And we'll also ask you to briefly describe the types of opportunities available to an intern in the environmental health areas offered by your program. So for example, would they be able to shadow with pool inspectors, food inspectors? Would they have learning opportunities with your lead or vector control programs? Would they be able to participate in climate and health working group meetings? So any of those opportunities that they would have outside of their independent project, we'd love to know what those are. Additionally, you'll be asked to identify any independent projects that could be worked on by the intern that focuses on an environmental health problem or challenge and how these projects may be related to the key focus areas of climate and health, environmental justice, and health equity. So these project ideas will be shared with the intern when discussing the position. But that being said, we understand that the project needs and priorities can change, and also that project ideas can morph as you get to know your intern and their interests and experience. So that is okay as well. On the application, we also ask a couple of questions about the desired format for the internship. So for example, would your project in your program require that the intern be fully in person for the 10 weeks of their internship? Would you be open to a hybrid model where, say, they would spend the first 6 or so weeks with you in person in the field, collecting data, doing shadowing, getting that field experience? And then perhaps they could, do the final 4 weeks remotely working on their project and their deliverables. Or would you be open to a fully virtual or remote internship? So I know there are some departments that haven't gone back to being fully in the office yet. So perhaps there's not space for an intern in the office, or there's not someone in the office every day. So perhaps a virtual internship would work better. So there's places on the application for you to kind of tell us what you're looking for in terms of format. We also ask a question about assistance with housing. So, some of our interns, if they are looking for an in-person internship, but they're not in the geographic location of their matched host site, they may need to relocate for the internship. So, NEHA does offer a need-based relocation allowance for interns to help offset some of the costs of relocating. But the intern will be they will be the ones who need to they will be responsible for finding housing and accommodations during their internship. But we do ask host sites, since you all are the ones who are familiar with your communities, if you'd be able to provide any advice or ideas for housing. But in no ways does that mean that it's your responsibility to find the housing for the intern. We're just asking if you might know of any ideas to help. All right. So a little bit about timeline. We're currently in the process of recruiting for the summer 2024 session. So student applications will close on February 1st of next year. And while there's no deadline for host site applications, the applications are currently open on the website. We do encourage you to submit your applications by early February for priority consideration for a summer 2024 intern. And if you have previously submitted an application and you selected that you were interested in a summer 2024 intern, your application will also be considered. The selection and matching process will take place in February and March, and notifications for selected summer students will be sent out by the end of March. And I should say for selected host sites as well. Summer internships will be 10 consecutive weeks, starting anytime after May 13th and wrapping up by the 1st of September at the latest. So just to note that some of the EHAC degree programs run on quarters instead of semesters. So if you're matched with an intern from one of those schools, they may not be done with their classes until June and may not be able to start the internship until mid to late June. So for example, if you and your intern started the internship experience on May 13th, 10 weeks later would have you finishing by July 19th. If you didn't start until June 24th, 10 weeks later would be, excuse me, August 30th. So this is a 400-hour internship. So during the 10 weeks, your interns will be expected to work full-time or 40 hours per week, unless you all decide on an alternate schedule together, which is fine. We just ask that that's a consideration when you're making arrangements. I know that there's, like the 4th of July holiday, and there may be vacations or days that the department is closed. So those are all things that you in the intern would want to think about when you're planning your start and end dates for the internship. All right. And as I wrap up the presentation here, I wanted to take a minute to talk about what host sites can expect if they're selected and matched with an intern. So once accepted interns and host sites confirm their intent to participate for summer 2024, you would be introduced to your intern via email. And I do want to back up for a second. We do share information about the intern with you before asking you to confirm your intent to participate. So we like to share information about their resume and what they're looking for. And you do have the opportunity to meet with the intern if you'd like to before accepting. So then once hosts and interns are introduced, at that time, they can begin making arrangements for the internship. As far as paperwork, selected host sites will be asked to fill out an agreement form with NEPHA. And additionally, interns will connect with you if they have some administrative paperwork that's required for their academic institution. Sometimes there will need to be an agreement in place if they are seeking academic credit for their internship hours. Please note that all students are required to undergo a background check um, by NEHA prior to starting the internship experience. And for orientation, several weeks before the internships begin, we'll host orientations for all participating interns and host sites to go over the details of the program. And throughout the internship, NEHA staff is available to help support interns and health departments as needed. Before the internship starts, we do provide a work plan template that can help interns and mentors to identify project details, deliverables, and timelines, as well as any other training tools or resources that may be needed. And throughout the internship, we will be sending out short check-in forms weekly to both interns and mentors to help identify any needs. And we'll be setting up separate mid-internship meetings with interns and mentors to discuss how things are going. And at the conclusion of the internship, the intern will be required to give a short presentation to NEHA staff. This will allow them to describe their experience, highlight their independent project outcomes, and share what they learned. And host site mentors are welcome to attend that presentation as well. So I know we covered a lot of information today, and I want to thank you for joining, and we look forward to partnering with you. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at nephip@neha.org.